What's up, guys? We're coming to you from the garage today, and we're gonna do some exercise demonstrations for how to get your delts to grow. One of my favorite accessory exercises that many people underestimate and sleep on. And it's not just gonna grow your delts, it's gonna get them to transfer strength and performance to those pressing activities you so desperately want to be good at. Now, those of you that know me know that I'm a minimalist. I like simplifying training. I've gone through long productive growth periods of really just doing the barbell movements and treating them like a skill. And I recommend that most people go through those phases. But so many of the people that get bit by the lifting bug and become lifters are those who fall in love with the barbell movements, and those become their favorite pet lifts. And they end up doing that at the expense of everything else, even after it's really stopped paying dividends. So like everything, it works right up until it doesn't. And when your minimalist or barbell only training does get stale, and eventually it will, adding an exercise like these is one of the easiest ways to boost your training up and start to see strength gains again. Now, there are also some reasons that you won't necessarily want to do overhead pressing. Barbell overhead pressing is fantastic exercise, a staple at this point. Some people have shoulder issues. I've known people with impingement issues that physically can't get their arm overhead. You high frequency guys, you guys that go 3-4 days a week on your bench press, you're gonna have a hard time really hammering overhead presses without it interfering with your other stuff. So there's also reasons that you would want to have these tools in your back pocket to lean on them. So getting into it, my movement for growing the delts, for increasing performance in that area without pulling away recovery from other more important activities, are dumbbell raises, particularly front raises, and then I would say secondarily lateral raises. Now, the reason that I'm making a video about this is because they are extremely productive exercises that many people underestimate. This is one of those movements that it's the first one to get cut from your training. If you're having a good workout, you hit a PR, you get excited, want to go grab a beer, you cut your workout short, this is the one that gets put on the back burner. Or if you have a crappy workout and you take your ball and go home. Any reason to cut out of the gym early. So things like leg extensions and chest flies are thought of as like fluff movements, bodybuilding movements, these isolation movements. They actually do have a ton to give, especially if you take them seriously. Front raises, I think, are actually more overpowered than those other movements to the point where they can carry your shoulder gains if you take them seriously. So looking at the model here, this is just a representation of what happens as your arm goes through that range of motion. So if we're talking about bringing a weight up and out in front of you, we can take what we know about leverage, things I've covered extensively when I've talked about low back health and deadlifting and optimizing squatting and stuff like that. The essential rule that you have to remember is the simple way of looking at this: the farther the weight is away from the pivot point horizontally, the more force is going to be required to move that weight, the heavier that weight in essence becomes. So as the arm arcs up, right here to right here, you'll notice those first couple inches, they're easy. It takes almost no work because you're not getting a lot of distance away from the pivot point of that shoulder. Now, every inch that you arc up, that dumbbell is getting further and further out until all the way at the very top, when it's the farthest away from you, that's peak contraction. That's where the deltoid is going to be contracted the most, and it's also going to be where the strain is the highest. So you get this 1-2 punch of a training stress. So this is the money spot. You don't have to go real high. In fact, I recommend that you don't, but get those handles right up to eye level. Now, you'll also notice that you can pick up a little bit of speed at the bottom, and you want to use that because that's going to soften out the strength curve. You want to use the speed just like you would with bands to build up momentum, to try to contract through harder with more weight at the top. Now, another little thing I like to do is when that arm comes back, I actually like to break it back just a little bit. I do like body English on these. You don't get crazy. You don't start doing like front raise jerks where you're like dropping underneath it. But a little bit of body English goes a long way. As you let the weights down, you can now get a stretch through your front delt. That becomes momentum that you can transfer upwards. And then I always like to accelerate up. And then right about here, I like to control the contraction and offer a little bit of resistance. I put brakes on the way down and then back into it. So I'm spending a little more time at that point where the deltoid is the most under tension. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. I'm using a lot of weight. I'm really taking advantage of the mechanical tension that exists right here by controlling and hitting the brakes, kind of resisting on the way down. But I can also get this nice stretch on the back end. So I'm getting a big stretch, I'm getting peak contraction, and I'm getting resistance with really heavy weight. As far as isolation movements go, I really think this one is goated. And again, nobody does this. I've been in corporate gyms for almost 25 years. I don't see people doing front raises with a lot of enthusiasm, if I see them doing it at all. So this is a good one. Now, secondarily, our lateral raises, big fan of those as well. And there's a lot of ways you could do them. I don't think you need to get crazy with these. I don't think you need to like grab onto a post and like lean away. You can do cables, you can do machines or very light variations, but this thing is gonna have the most transfer to what you're trying to do, which I'm assuming is growing muscle and pressing more, if you use the weights and take advantage of your entire body. If you use a little bit of body English, use a little bit of momentum, and really train your body to exert a lot of force through that one small joint. So I'm gonna do a quick demonstration. I'm gonna use these Nuobells. SmartFit was kind enough to send me a pair to test out, so I plan on doing a review video pretty shortly. Okay, these things are pretty cool. That was really fast. Literally, you just turn the handle all the way up to 50 to 80. That is lightning quick. And so far, it saves 16 pairs of dumbbells. So these are really cool. I'm excited about these. I'm gonna leave a link in the description if you guys are interested in adding a new toy to your home gym. Go ahead and check these out. So far, I'm pretty impressed. So demonstrating, starting in neutral position, I'll turn my palms down and I come up. Now the benefit of the dumbbells is I get freedom. So let's say my shoulders are feeling dodgy. I might notice it coming out to the side feels a little better than coming up to the front. I have more range. I can do one arm at a time. Again, you can break the plane of your body and get a stretch and come up, but this is generally the tempo I get. I deliberately pull it back a little bit, like spring loaded, bring it forward, and I fight right here. And I'm hitting the brakes just a little bit at the bottom. That little bit of control over the top 2 or 3 inches of the movement really makes the movement. And the stretch really helps fatigue compound a lot faster. And you're getting the benefit of that full range of motion. So ideally more muscle fibers being hit. But this is all you need to do. Simple movement. Simple movement. You just have to be willing to work it hard enough to get something out of it. And people are going to find it's uncomfortable. You do have to brace. So if you're bringing this heavy weight out in front, and I'll get up to the 80-pound dumbbells for these on heavy sets, you really have to brace your midsection to keep yourself from falling back. And you don't want to get in the habit of leaning way back. And like I said, some people cock them up, only get them about chest high, and try to like drop under it. That's ridiculous. Nice and controlled. Spring load, squeeze at the top, resist. Okay, full range of motion, get that momentum, get that ramp to start, and then that's where all that force is coming in at the top. Now, lateral raises are a good analog to hit your medial delt, round your shoulders out a little bit more. I don't really concern myself with rear delt development when I talk about shoulders because I think of that as more of a posterior activity. If you're doing a lot of rowing, if you're going high and wide on your chest, you should be getting some rear delt development. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to work through a wide variety of reps. I want you working up to a top set of 6. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to do a wide variety of reps. I want you to work up to a heavy weight to temper yourself that force production, make yourself uncomfortable. And I want you to do high reps. And I don't want you to shy away from fatigue. So one thing I like to do is pyramid up and then pyramid back down. So I get a wide variety of reps. My warm-ups might be like 15 and then 10 and then 8, and then I'll do a heavy set. And then I'll start to work back down. And working back down, you can really push the envelope because you're done with the movement, so you leave it all on the table. And that's where I can do a really hard set of 10 or a really hard set of 15 that absolutely torches me. You can also incorporate something like lateral raises. I'm assuming if you're watching this, your primary concern is getting your press higher, getting your shoulders bigger. Front raises are gonna be a lot more productive to that end. Lateral raises, great movement, but they're not priority. So one of the easiest ways to incorporate them and torch your shoulders is to run through your heavy reps of front raises and then do your back off sets, do your hard high rep sets, 10, 12, 15 reps, and superset them with lateral raises. And have a lighter pair of dumbbells ready. If you're using 25s on the front raises, might need to go 10 or 15 on the lateral raises. But same rules apply, little stretch, a little bit of body English, squeeze at the top, let it down. Now, one of the beauties of this movement is its recoverability. I mentioned guys that bench a lot, that need a lot of recovery to bench 3-4 days a week, are gonna have a hard time finding shoulder exercises that don't just blow their wad for the week. This is extremely easy to recover from, and that means that there aren't really any wrong answers. Just about any rep range you come up with, just about any protocol you come up with, as long as there's effort and as long as you try to progress it week to week, you will absolutely find progress in there. So that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this exercise. If you struggled to get your shoulders big and then you found the secret that led to cannonball delts, let us know what it is. Let us know what worked for you. If you've tried these, if you've had success with these, if you use these to solve a problem, let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, this is Bromley. I'll see you.